So welcome again to Wickerson Studios. Michael Wickerson here. I'm basically continuing with the data science, taking a look at data-driven design, but I will be putting a lot of scripts into Python, into Grasshopper through the ghPython node and the ghPython remote node. But instead of going into something like Visual Studio and typing your script, pulling inputs from the user, you can see here as I run the script, it says, ask your dumb question. It was the 8-ball game, but my son got a hold of it and changed these answers. And my outcome was yes. So I'm going to run my script again and give it a second. Are you sure? And no. So that's an inconsistent game, doesn't know what it wants to do. But what I had was my son jump over, not only, and keep in mind he's 10 years old and he's learning how to script, which is why I'm really doing this program. Into Grasshopper, I had the same thing scripted with a few adjustments to what was there, so I could actually play the game kind of this way. So outside of that script, I can go in and type any question. Are you really sure? And of course, this is irrelevant to what you type. As long as you enter a new thing, it will say, you may rely on it. Ooh, ask another question, man. So I've basically gone in and played the 8-ball game here and typed in kind of else and if else statements and just made it work. The one thing you have to remember is you have to set, there's a little trick here that I said if bool, just if true. So I set my type hint over here to a string. So is it a string? And I guess that'll come up true if I put it in there as a string. I'm pretty sure it would default otherwise. It's not really necessary to have that as a trigger. You can just put a button on here in Grasshopper if you're familiar with it. Just as long as there's some type of action going on here, I can change the results. But I think it's nice to change it by kind of an interface of reading a script, which makes Grasshopper kind of interactable, which will make that exciting. Now, the whole example of this was to go into the chapter 3 and deal with the syntax of the Zen Python, which I covered. It's going to cover PEP8, and it's going to cover what's now referred to, PEP8 is now referred to as Py code style. So in reading this before you make that script, and then going into how to download modules and how to import them as aliases, that's all in here to play with, because you'll notice in the script I've actually imported an extra module, random, and I've used random int. Now I could have gone in here as well and say as rand, but then I'd have to change within the script that as a smaller statement, and it should still work fine, and I think it does. Ooh, and there we go. It worked just fine. So just going to trigger it again and change it and put it back into that statement. It is certain. So it's just a fun little interactive that you're getting into running and applying some of these things. I'm going to hit OK. And that's enough to start. What I've also done is paired the sites you want to look at. You definitely want to go into the pepspython.org, and you want to see what Py code style 2.8 delivered from PEP. And that was something I guess the creator of Python had requested, that they didn't have the confusion of PEP8 and turning it into Py code style. So that's it. You can play around with Grasshopper. You can have some fun. You can write whatever you have to do. I think I'll leave my little Py code up, or my PEP8. I don't know which one's more interesting for people that draw into these videos. Very short little introductories. And I'm going to go into chapter 4, and we're going to begin building our first Python application. I'm going to try and apply it as best as I can in Python 2.7 as I go through all the stages of data science. It's going to be a huge project with multiple books, and this is just a way to get, a younger audience or beginning audience to start coding, but using some of the graphic interface and environment of Rhino and Grasshopper. Hope people are finding it exciting. Thanks for watching.